everyone, and welcome to day 20 of this vlog series, Diary of a Multifaceted Mama. Can't believe we're at day 20. And when I started this, I didn't have a specific end date in mind. It was just kind of on a whim, like, let me just challenge myself to do this, to show up, because one of the things that is so important to me that I believe to be a vital part of us as just humans to be able to interact with more meaning and more genuine connection is this authenticity, right? And that word has been now put in the cliche category because it's kind of overused. But it's a really important one. And by authenticity, what I mean is that we could be ourselves. We don't have to try to act, especially as moms, but even just as parents, right? We don't have to try to act that when we're as a professional, we're only a professional, and we're not also a partner, we're not also a parent, we're not also a person outside of that. And we don't have to pretend to act as a parent, we don't have other aspects of ourselves or our lives that we care about and that we want to explore. We don't have to try, right? We can be multifaceted, and that can be a really good thing, and we can embrace all of the different facets of ourselves, and we can normalize that. That's really important to me. And so that is part of what I wanted to do here in this vlog series. Listen, I do have my PhD. I do have multiple degrees. I do have, I do run a successful business as a private practice, psychotherapist. I do have a second business that I've been building for a while, right? I do have all of those things. And so on paper, it can seem to some people, it seems a little bit intimidating, but I'm human. I'm human. Those things that I have done and things that I will continue to do in my life, I don't want that to make me seem like I'm not human, right? I'm human, and there are plenty of people out there that have done lots of amazing things, and plenty of people out there that have struggled doing really hard things. And I've had my own struggle, right? What you see on the surface, what you see on paper, what you think you see other people living in their lives, that is not the whole story. It never is. It never is. It's never the whole story. And in many ways, that is healthy, because we do need boundaries, right? We do need to have a sense of privacy, things that feel safer for me to keep in the privacy of myself, my home, whatever the case is. We need those boundaries, and that sense of safety within privacy. And also, it can become unhealthy because then we can look at other people and see what is really surface level or just not the full picture, and then start comparing ourselves to that. And it really screws us over. It really messes with the mind. So anyway, all of that to go on a tangent and say, that's a big part of why I chose to do this vlog series. I'm not formal with this. I'm not it's 5:00 in the morning right now. I'm not all done up. I'm not I'm in my living room with my dog, with my my morning writing stuff. I just made some coffee. I have my water. I just did some dishes. I threw my hair up. I'm just being human, right? I did some mom stuff. I did some laundry. Woke up early because I wanted to wake up early. Went to bed when I needed to go to bed because I felt like I needed to sleep last night. I'm just being human. And if we could just normalize the human experience more. Sometimes I have hard days. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I'm really energetic. Sometimes I'm really excited over things that might seem silly or little to other people. But I'm just human. And so are you, right? We have our differences. I have my lived experience. You have yours. There are things I feel really passionate about. if you've heard me talk about it before, like on this channel and other avenues of this channel outside of this vlog series, um, I do talk about things that are near and dear to my heart that I pursue professionally, but they are also personal to me. The intersection between our sexuality, and I don't mean just like gender or sexual intercourse or anything. I mean like as a human species. So our humanness, our sensuality, our beingness, right? So the intersection of our sexuality with the spiritual part of us, the spiritual and faith-based part of us, and also the socio-political part of us, the cultural aspects of us. Those intersections of those three things, I believe, are the three areas, and the intersection of those areas are the things that we need to explore and humanize and have more conversations about more and more and more. So I talk a lot about those on my channel, and the reasons why I find them to be really important, as well as some of the ways I think that we can handle those areas and those intersections, both as individuals as well as like systems, communities, families, in a healthier way, in a way that moves us forward rather than keeps us stuck or pulls us back. And that's part of what's important to me, not just as a professional, but as just a human being, like as a person. But these are all different facets of me, and you have different facets of you. I was thinking before I came on here for this vlog series, I was like, if you talk too generally about, or too widely, right, about too many things, then your message lands on empty ears, right? Like it doesn't hit, it doesn't click, because it's just too broad. So part of me was like, Tony, you ought to be more specific in your vlog series. And, that is true as far as, if you do speak, especially with how loud the online space is, especially like this during this time of history. If you do speak too broadly, too widely, then, it doesn't click, it doesn't hit. But that's not what this vlog series is about. And so this vlog series is about the wideness, the variety, the broadness of us as multifaceted human beings. And so I was challenging myself and then challenging myself back and forth. And it's like, no, like that's not what this vlog series is about. This vlog series isn't about this being super targeted. It's about humanizing that we are more than just this, just that, just this, just that. We're more than that. And that's not a bad thing. And I think society is like leaning in that direction and wanting to explore that more, with burnout rates being what they have been for quite a while now, even pre-COVID. Burnout rates have been at epidemic proportions, and, people are more and more and more asking, like, is sacrificing parts of myself really worth it? And the answer is no. No. Sacrificing facets of yourself is not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And so this vlog series, whatever happens with it, wherever it goes, I don't even know. Whomever finds it, my hope is that, and my desire is that it speaks to any parts of you that are feeling like you can't be your full self, or you can't express all your different facets, or you don't know all the different facets of who you are. It speaks to those parts of you and helps you to challenge yourself to listen to them more, connect with them more, be in touch with them more, embrace them more, whatever it is that you need more of in order to really more fully be you in a way that is healthy, in a way that is safe, in a way that feels good, in a way that helps you live feeling more meaningfully successful, more satisfied, more connected within yourself, more connected within your relationships, so that you can drop any of the shame or blame or guilt or confusion or frustration that may have been plaguing you a little or a lot of it recently or for most of your life. We're human. We've got many facets. Yesterday was such a breath of fresh air for me because, you know, there's so many different pressures from all different places in our lives, whether you feel pressure as a parent, whether you feel pressure as a citizen in politics, whether you feel pressure as a teacher or a therapist or a person in your profession or a boss, or maybe you feel pressure from your partner in your marriage. Maybe you feel pressure from within yourself about the way you look. Maybe you feel pressure. Anyway, one of the areas where I have felt the most pressure on again, off again, has been in growing my mentorship business, which I explained in a different video. I've been really leaning into it being more of like a movement, a meaningful personal movement reflected professionally. And one of the reasons is because there's been a part of me that feels like it needs to post, like it's supposed to post on social media to grow that second business more and more and more. And I just don't want to post a ton on social media. There's something about that feels like it's butting up against my values as a person who really strives to practice what they preach, which is balance moment to moment with what feels good, with what is priority to me in my life. And so posting on social media when I feel inspired to do it is fine, but thinking I should post on social media more and more often the shoulds, right? The shameful shoulds is what I call them. And if you're shoulding yourself, it's really creating a lot of internal pressure that doesn't feel good, and it creates negative energy, and it just adds to the challenges. So yesterday was a breath of fresh air because, and this isn't new, by the way, like this social media posting with that second business has been an up and down thing that I've moved forward with. Doesn't weigh on me the way it used to, like years ago, but it definitely does come up as far as like it's on my mind, in the back of my mind, more frequently than I would desire still. So anyway, yesterday was a breath of fresh air because I didn't think about it at all. We had a really fun full day as a family. I went to church with my kids and they had so much fun. And we saw my dad there. It was his church. He's a pastor. And we went out for a nice breakfast afterwards, which I haven't done with all my kids for quite a while because we have an infant, and then I was really pregnant, and then we were moving, and then there was COVID, and blah, 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 blah. I could go on and on and on. So I haven't done that for a while. And it just was they were so happy. It was so nice. Really enjoyed it. And then we came back home. And after that, one of my middle kids had a play date, so I took them to the playground. We had a play date there. I just got to talk with the other mom there, and the kids were just playing and having fun. And I had the baby, and she was just taking in all of the different sensory experiences of just being out in the world at the playground and looking around. And it was so, no, I wasn't thinking about social media at all, posting on it at all. And I don't think about posting on my social media, but like on a personal level. I'm just like, meh, if I feel like it, I do. Right. So that professional level with the one business of thinking about that is like, I don't want to have that in the back of my mind. And I've managed it before, so I don't like that it like comes back sometimes. So it felt so refreshing. And then we came home and, they had a bath and I made dinner and we did some cleaning and we had a nice nighttime routine, and it was just so nice. It was just so nice. It was just a nice, fun, full family day. And that fed the facet of me that is mom, as well as the facet of me that is woman and minority and wife, because of some of the conversations that I got to have with that other mom during the play date. We haven't met before. This is their first play date together. It's a friend from school. And they were just so, it was just a fulfilling conversation. And it was a day that felt like connected, even just like with my partner, when we got to just sit and talk later on in the day, and that we had time apart so we could do different things. And it was such a nice day. No one major thing had to happen that was super productive or anything like that. Although we did have productivity because we, worked together to clean the house like we, typically do on Sundays. But it just felt so nice. It felt so nice. And that's because I just allowed myself to enjoy some of the different facets of my life and feed some of the different facets of who I am. And I released any pressure to focus on some of the shoulds or supposed to's. Right. And so that is something that comes up so often with moms, but with parents and in general. It's like, but I should be doing this, or I'm supposed to be doing this, or I should be acting this way, or I'm supposed to be doing that, or whatever. Like all of those shoulds or supposed to's that you have building up within you, whether it's as a parent, as a professional, as a business owner, like whatever the case is, I really do encourage you. And I talk about this in my book too, The Reset, A High Achiever's Guide to Freedom and Fulfillment. You might have heard me mention it before. It's on Amazon. Check it out. I'll leave the name below in the comments. The shameful shoulds, they'll eat away at you. They'll put on so much pressure. They'll eat away at you. And it happens without even realizing it. Like without even you realizing it, that can happen, right? And so what I would encourage you to do, I'm reflecting on now, just talking in this vlog series today, is that it doesn't matter how much you think you know. It matters what you do with that knowledge, how you treat yourself while you deal with whatever you're dealing with, and how you treat others. And I say that because as a psychotherapist with my doctorate, I have studied human behavior for, at this point, most of my life, right? And so I know mentally, emotionally, physiologically, like I know what is healthy and what is not. And so I know that shaming myself or shoulding myself isn't helpful, isn't healthy. I know that logically, right? Just like a medical doctor knows that smoking isn't healthy for them, right? We know things. We all know a lot. We live in an information-heavy world. But knowing is not enough. I actually posted about this on my personal page earlier this week. Knowing is not enough. Sometimes it is. If it's not like a habit that's deep ingrained, a mental habit or behavioral habit that's like deeply ingrained in us, then the knowing can sometimes be enough. But when it comes to like the more deeply ingrained things, mentally or behaviorally, relationally, it's not enough to just use it. That didn't the light just change really weird? That was weird. Nothing happened. I don't know what just happened. But it's not enough to just know. What we do with that knowing, how we care for our emotional self, how we manage our mental thoughts around it, how deep we're willing to go within ourselves to explore what is really happening in the roots there, that is where the real shifts happen. And so I logically know and have been teaching and practicing myself, teaching others, practicing myself, how to call out the shameful shoulds and help shift them. I've been doing that for years, right? But that doesn't mean that there aren't still shameful shoulds that don't come up for me here and there. Does it happen less and less? Yes, because I'm more aware. Does it happen less and less intensely, less and less frequently? Does the duration last shorter? Absolutely, yes, for sure. Because I'm aware and I have practice with managing them, right? But does it just not happen at all? No. Just because I know, does it like make it so that I can prevent it from ever happening? No. Right? And so that comes back to this thing about like, we are all human. We all have various facets of ourselves. Like, yes, I'm a psychotherapist. Yes, I have all of this knowledge, right? And that's a great thing. There's nothing wrong or bad about that. But that doesn't exempt me from being human, from having challenges, from still needing to learn and grow in different areas of my life. Like, it doesn't, right? So maybe you could give yourself permission in whatever way you need it to not put the shameful shoulds in the steering wheel, to call them out when you see them. And no matter how much you have dove into self-development, personal development, professional development, give yourself some space and grace to be human. We are always, always, always learning, growing, evolving. There's always going to be an opportunity for us to be like, oh, well, this needs to change, or that's not working, or oh, I didn't realize, or oh my goodness, right? Like there's always going to be those kinds of opportunities. So what we do with them, how we treat ourselves as we navigate them, really allowing ourselves to label the emotions and process them in a healthy way and express them in a healthy way. Like that's the work. That's the work, right? So I went on a little bit longer than usual in this, I don't know, episode. What do we want to call this video? But that's okay because because that's what we wanted to talk about today. That's where we're at, right? And I know it landed for those who needed to hear it. So thanks for being with me today, y'all. Again, we're at day 20. See you next time at day 21.